Hey guys, before we begin the actual episode of Getting Gutsy, I just want to make a quick correction on my side, which was really dumb of me. So for some reason, I kept calling Colette's big anime eyes bishy eyes, which in fact means bi shonen, and I do know this, so I don't know why I was calling a little girl's facial expressions bi shonen. It was very late at night when we recorded this, and I confused, big anime eyes with being bi shonen for a little girl character. So, before I get bombarded with comments, I was dumb, and so, I'm mumbling, but enjoy the episode of Getting Gutsy. Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fellow strugglers, and this is the official episode 1 of Getting Gutsy, a Berserk podcast where me, who's read Berserk countless times, let's say I'm stuttering already, we're off to a fantastic start, and my buddy Lance, who's here with me yet again, has never read the series, so we'll be going through volume by volume, and just getting Lance's general opinions on where the story's going, what he likes about specific chapters. And that all that good stuff, will play it by ear, because I haven't really gone in prepared. Lance, why don't you introduce yourself yet again for any new viewers of the show?
I'm gonna be nitpicky and completely ruin your intro. But you say it's the first official episode, but we did a pilot.
Well, the last one was a pilot.
That counts as the first episode, though, I think.
No, it's like in a pilot episode of like a TV show, it's like different actors.
Does that happen? Because I don't remember that.
Yeah, that's happened in some shows. I'm sure.
Or you just pull like
comment if that's happened in a show. I think that's happened.
Or you just pull like a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and just replace them throughout the show.
Yeah.
But
okay, we'll call it episode 1 then instead of episode pilot. We're numbering them now.
Yeah.
And before we begin, let's do some Berserk housekeeping. Berserk will return. It will return on August 23rd. That's right. It's off of hiatus since April, I think was the last chapter. So we're back, we're returning to Guts' point of view, and it's going to be very exciting. I'll probably do a video on that special chapter when it comes out.
I'm going to laugh so hard if it cuts to just Griffith.
No,
it's like you're waiting for. It's like you're waiting for Casca.
It's been confirmed. It's been confirmed. It's a Guts chapter, unless he's fucking with us, which maybe.
What if it's like
but
Guts?
So.
It's like him just like exploring. It doesn't even show Casca. It's like, well, in this chapter, Guts takes a trip to McDonald's.
Oh, well, that would be pretty good. There's like there's an advertisement image for the Golden Age. I might put in like, I don't know, the episode's thumbnail where Guts and Griffith are eating like Burger King or something. One of the movies were coming out, and they did like a time promotion. It's like Guts and Griffith in the movie artwork, and they're just eating. I think Guts is eating a burger and Griffith's drinking a milkshake.
I have to look this up.
Yeah, it's official artwork. Just type in like Guts eating a burger, you'll probably find it.
What the hell?
Yeah, did you find it?
Yes, I did.
Yep.
I thought this was fake.
He's enjoying that burger.
It's Griffith drinking the milkshake is what gets me. Oh, that's great.
Griffith's got to watch his figure, whereas Guts has to, he's a big burly man.
He needs the protein.
Yeah, he needs... Exactly. Okay, so, we're going to be covering Chapter 2 today, and I think we'll cover Chapter 3 as well. It depends how long this runs on for, because the early chapters of Berserk are very long. I think it's until Volume 2 they're the standard, 20 pages. But sometimes, like, Chapter 2 and 3, I think Chapter 2 goes on for, like, 50 pages, maybe.
Yeah.
It goes on for a while.
Before we go on,
Chapter 3.
do you want to mention the email thing? Or
Oh, yeah, I'll repeat that at the end, but I've created an email called, so you can send in questions if you so desire. So, the email is gettin, so Gettin, no G, gettingutsy@gmail.com. So that's GETTINGUTSY@gmail.com. Now I've already got a question came in from a Lance, who says, question, when will Pike of the Snake Apostle kiss? That's in the chapter coming out in August, actually.
Nice.
Miura gave me a sneak peek. So that's coming. You got to hear first.
I thought this was like a... What kind of manga? I've ruined my joke already. What kind of manga is Berserk? I know it's not shonen.
Boys Love.
Boys
Love.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't. That makes the joke for me then. I didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I didn't know this was a hentai, but still.
Well, Berserk's sometimes classed as a shoujo manga, which I think is like, I think shoujo's aimed at girls. Let me Google
Really?
that. A genre of Japanese comics and animated films aimed primarily at a young female audience. Miura has classed it as a shoujo. Even though it's a seinen, it has shoujo elements in it.
Yeah, I was thinking more seinen, but I didn't want to say it and then be wrong, and then your fans.
Well,
make
it
fun
is
of
a
me.
seinen, but it's definitely got shoujo elements in there. There's a lot of like emotional beats going on. It's not just Guts slashing his sword all the time.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of downtime in Berserk, which is what a lot of people like about the series, and you'll probably see that a lot in the Golden Age, not so much in the Black Swordsman, as that's establishing why Guts is a fucked up lunatic.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, because this intro's been going on for
About 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Let's start chapter 2, titled "The Brand." So you know that's a good title to start off this chapter. And what did you think of this double page spread in this kind of what do you call this like style? Like a lot of manga could do this, but I'm not really. It's kind of like shaded in.
I think it's more just not. It's more like, you mean like a color page, or that's usually what I see a lot of people call it.
It's not a color page. It's kind of like Miura does it in a lot of the early stuff.
I'd say it's
kind of like in grayscale.
I think it's just more like a cover art for the chapter. Like,
I
kind of like it because it's not the full thing we're gonna get into, but I think it kind of gives you like an idea of how the chapter is gonna be, like from what I've got so far with this. So, yeah.
Yeah. So we've got this you know, the demon spirit saying to Guts, "You cannot escape us," and then this cool double page spread of Guts' eye looking beyond them and, you know, getting ready to fight. It's a cool visual. Not much more to say to that than this. Again, repeating it from the last episode, I really like the scale for Dragon Slayer in these earlier chapters. Because even when Guts is like gripping it in that image, it kind of like looks proportionate, even though it's a very big still. Whereas in the later chapters, it kind of looks comically big at times. We'll get into that when we cover, I don't know, chapter 300 and something in 2025. But,
and Berserk still won't be finished.
Yes. No. 2 more chapters would have came out by then. So then, well, we have this next page of we have like Puck flying on this little pigeon, little birdie. He's looking really seductive.
Yeah, I
guess.
What is with Puck's art, like his design in this page in particular? It looks very strange to me. Like
he's a very pretty fairy boy.
I guess.
I don't know.
The weird thing to me is in the panel above it, and I do like this, is you have the mountains and stuff in the background, and the birds like in pure white, like help like be distinct from like all of the scenery around here. It really catches your eye, I guess. And then it comes in and like shows Puck on the bird. So
yes, it's a good scale shot, and you know, it establishes kind of like Puck's relationship with nature in a way. You know, he can command birds. That ties into his kind of funny backstory he won't see for another 300 chapters. So yeah, you know, we get some Puck monologuing saying he was looking for Guts. You know, some comic relief moments where he falls off a leaf. You know, classic Puck.
What do you think
and then we cut
about...
what were you going to say, sorry?
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, what do you think about like when manga do this kind of thing where it's like the first chapter is really like stylized and then the next chapter goes to like the more traditional art? Like, do you like that or do you think that's weird?
Berserk does it a lot in the early... It stops doing that. It does it a lot in... I want to say it stops around... at least volume 6. I think like the last time I remember it seeing is in one of the Zod chapters. I think Miura stops doing it around volume 6 in the Golden Age. But yeah, I think it's a bit weird. It's kind of like stylization technique.
Yeah.
It's just to give those opening, I don't know, pages more pop, I guess. It's still published in the magazine after, and you want to hook people to read more.
Yeah.
So like, check out this cool artwork. So yeah, we see Guts looking injured as fucking always.
Is he ever not beat up in any chapter? Because like I feel like the chapters I've read, he eventually gets beat up or tortured in something in almost every chapter.
I don't know, he's usually fighting a lot. There's some stuff in the Golden Age where you know, he's like at parties and stuff. But even like when he's not fighting, he's usually just recovering from fighting.
Yeah.
So not really. He's a beat up little lad. So yeah, we get what do you think of this interaction between Puck and Guts here? You know, Guts not giving a shit, and Puck excitedly asking what happened to him.
One thing I put this in my notes is I did think it was funny. Guts is already annoyed with Puck because at the time, like I did my notes. This is before we did the first episode, but I put like I've heard Puck gets really annoying later on, so it's like it's kind of ironic that Guts is already annoyed with him. But isn't it the opposite where Guts starts to like Puck more throughout? Like, the
Guts. You know, he will warm up to him eventually, and that's a really nice moment. It's probably one of my favorite moments in the series.
So basically, the more Guts likes Puck, the less the readers like Puck.
I wouldn't say like Puck's a disliked character. I will say as like Guts got more, as more people joined Guts, Puck kind of had less to do, and you know he wasn't very balanced out, right, and that's still an issue.
Yeah, he just becomes the comedic character, basically.
Yeah. We'll get to that when we get to that. And, you know, I like how Guts still isn't addressing Puck, but I don't think he's called him his name once. He's called him, like, Bug. He's never called him Puck once. You know, Guts mentions his elven sense of duty as well.
The panel on the next page for Guts is like, I don't like elves and I don't like you. The first thing I thought was like, it's just Link crying in a corner.
Oh, yeah. Guts would... I don't know. Maybe if Link had them... No, Guts would still fuck up Link with a mask. So I'm not doing a death battle out of this.
I was about to say,
We'll
like,
here all day.
before we get in, if it became realistically, like, Guts would murder Link. It wouldn't even be a fair fight. Guts could probably be several video game characters. Like, it's not even funny.
No, unless like not Kirby though.
No, Kirby
will just like eat him.
What would happen? Okay, I know we're about to go off topic because we brought this up. What would happen if like Kirby ate Guts? Would he also get the Dragon Slayer?
He'd get horrible PTSD. Probably.
I want to see Guts Kirby now. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, so, we get this part, you know, Puck's trying to make some casual conversation. You know, Guts' face when he's looking up at Puck's is look like he's doing that Principal Skinner pathetic face.
Yeah,
you know
I can see that.
Yeah, I kind of make an edit of that later. And, you know, I think Guts has a common habit of throwing Puck around. I think he did that in the last chapter, like he threw him down.
Yeah.
And even, like, in, like, you know, that's his common kind of comedic slapstick as Guts picking up and throwing him down somewhere. And you know, Guts what do you think of, you know, this is kind of a problem I have with early Black Swordsman chapters. I still think it's good, but it's a lot of repeating what we already know. I guess because, you know, this was a monthly manga, is to remind readers. But when Guts says he doesn't like elves and Puck's like, why? And then, like, Guts repeats his whole I hate weakling shtick. And we kind of heard this before. I don't know why he's saying it again. Do you know what I mean?
I wouldn't have an issue with it if it was a new character. Like, if he meets, you know, Billy Bob in this chapter or whatever. Billy
the famous Berserk character, Billy Bob.
He existed back in the medieval days. But, you know, I wouldn't have an issue with that. But again, it's like, Puck's heard this. Why are you repeating this? And like you said, it's because it's like the early chapters of the manga and it was monthly.
Yeah, it's establishment.
Yeah, so I mean, I get it, but they could do it in a different way. Like, you could have Guts fighting and the guy could be like, you know, you're weak, and that pisses him off because he doesn't like weaklings, you know, or something. I'm just throwing paint at the wall here, but still.
Yeah, you know, I just think it's like unnecessary repetition, especially like as we're doing or reading them like in big volumes years later. This was probably a lot different when it was monthly. So, you know, and Guts gives Puck a little smirk, and then, you know, walks off without him. I really like this visual of Guts in his hood, walking down.
Yeah, I like that a lot too. I love that it covers his eye up, by the way, because they do that a lot, but I just like that for some reason. That's something that has stuck with me through the first 3 chapters so far, is I always cover that eye up. And I don't know what it is, I just really like that for some reason. But
yeah, if you remember in the first episode of the anime, they used this motif as well. Guts was hooded in that bar fight.
Oh, yeah.
That's quite a famous scene. Yeah. So they kind of like took that from there, because in the Black Swordsman chapter, as we just read, that didn't happen there. But also, it was different characters in that bar fight. I think this priest guy in Berserk 97 was in the bar with Colette. So they kind of switched stuff around. You know, yeah, I wish Guts kind of used this hooded kind of attire more in his cape. It's pretty cool.
It makes him a lot more like mysterious looking, I think.
Yeah. So, you know, he's walking through, and then he gets stopped by a priest. Or, yeah, you know, we even say, Guts says, sorry, I'm no good with priests. And that's... what do you think of that line? Because you know about the eclipse and the gods, you know, the god hand. Like, I thought it was a pretty kind of clever line tying into Guts' hate of the higher order, let's say.
It's a line that, like, it's weird, because when you know about it, you're like, oh, that's a nice little, like, I guess, foreshadow? I guess that'd be foreshadowing, technically. But if you're just reading the manga from, like, the first chapter up, it's like a throwaway line. You're like, okay, he just doesn't like priests. I mean, which I like. I like stuff like that. I like when you can, like, reread or rewatch something, and you think a line's throwaway, but you're like, oh, wow, that actually applies to something later on. Like, and it's such a, like, a small line, but I do like that.
Yeah, it's cool. And I like how Guts is trying to ward them off. And, you know, Guts is, you know, I'm telling this for your own good. You know, Guts isn't, he's not completely a monster, you know, he just wants to be left alone. He can see these people mean no harm. And, you know, he knows what's going to happen next if he sticks with these people. It's not like he's being, like, outright aggressive to them. He's just kind of being like, leave me alone, you don't want to do this.
Leave me alone, Dad, I want to play Xbox in my room.
Griffith said it's my turn on the Xbox. You know, I like how when Guts aren't being pursued by evil spirits, a legion of them, the priest's reaction to this kind of looks genuine in a way.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, he believes it, I think. Which, you know, there's been a lot of apostle encounters in this early chapters. But, you know, people would usually throw that off. That's quite, so, yeah, and then the priest says he has God on his side. Not to mention, I wish Guts kind of had a more of a reaction when he said he has God on his side. Because, you know, the God hand and stuff. We know Guts is pursuing these people from chapter 1. But Guts only kind of reacts to him saying a spirit, where, what do you think of the panel there with Puck pulling the face?
This is probably the first panel I've seen that I actually am like, okay, I like Puck. Because it actually is funny. I just love the face he's making, is really what it is.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's pretty good. And this next page, what do you think of, like, Guts' internal reaction there? Where he's like, what do I care if something happens?
It's probably... I like it and I don't like it, because I like that he is kind of, like, I guess, attempting to open up. Well, not really open up. I'm trying to think how I'm wanting to phrase this. How am I wanting to word this? He doesn't really care, but he still doesn't really want them to die. So I do kind of like that, if that makes sense. I don't really know how I'm trying to word this, but I don't know.
Well, he's reluctant to get with them because we had this whole spiel with Puck where it's like, I hate weak people. And then like an elderly priest and a little girl come along, it's like, hop on our cart. And Guts is like, yeah, just leave me alone, you don't want to do this. And then he's trying to apply his mantra as like, what do I care if something happens to them? I'm weak, they're strong. It's a way of the world. You know, that kind of like, that's been drilled into him of what we'll find out from the Golden Age. So, you know, he's a very conflicted individual. And then I like the panel immediately after with the eyes looking through the trees and Guts' brand reacts. That's a pretty cool quick cut moment, let's say.
It's kind of spooky looking.
What do you I like this page of, you know, Puck and Guts staring at each other, and Guts is just giving him a kind of like, not a death stare, just kind of like, what the fuck are you doing here, man? And then, there's a lot of physical comedy I like in these early chapters. I don't know what you think about, you know, because it works on a page turn basis.
Yeah.
So you see, you know, Puck was like, I was here first, you've got no right to complain. You turned the page, and then you agreed to a panel of Guts throwing a towel on Puck.
I definitely think this is probably this volume, this is probably the most comedic chapter, oddly. Because, like, the first chapter has comedic moments.
Kind of.
Well, let me... Okay, without going into later parts of this chapter, the early moments of it are the most comedic parts of this fight.
It's kind of...
There you go.
It's kind of a quiet moment until, like, the finale, the climax of this chapter, let's say. And, you know, like, you know, when... So, what do you think of when you saw, like, an innocent little girl in this chapter? What was your immediate thoughts?
Okay, so do you want, like... Can we go into, like, ends of this chapter? So...
Just, were you expecting that end of the chapter?
Yes. As soon as I saw her, I knew what was going to happen. I was like, yep. Just because it's not even like... Because I know what happens in Berserk. Like, this could have been any show or thing ever. As soon as I saw this person... And this sounds weird to say, but what it is... And this is something I've actually heard from a friend of mine. If a character doesn't look distinct enough, that's how you know that character is either going to be pointless and never come back, or that character is probably going to die. That's just... I'm not going to say which one this is. Obviously, it's safe to assume. But that's how you know. And that's the thing with her. She's such like a generic-looking character besides her big anime eyes, which look weird to me, mind you.
Bitchy eyes, yeah.
She does. And I'm going... It does kind of bother me, I'm going to be honest. This is the only thing I'm probably going to nitpick this chapter on, is this character design, because she looks so different compared to, like, the priest guy and Guts and Puck. Like, she looks like an 80s
they're
to 90s
trying to hammer in
girl.
that innocent girl look. I sure hope nothing happens to her. I'm sure she'll be completely fine at the end of this chapter.
Yeah, it's just strange, but, yeah.
No, like, it's just, you know, she's blushing as she gives Guts the homemade wine as it'll warm him up. And, you know, there's, like, physical comedy again, like, I think the anime adapted this chapter of the first episode, actually, and, the skeletons look like fucking something from Spy Kids in that episode.
They do.
Have you seen Spy Kids too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, there's like CGI skeletons in Spy Kids too, and they look better in that than they did in Berserk 2016. And Spy Kids 2 probably came out close to 2 decades ago. So yeah, we've got another physical comedy here again, you know, where Puck says me too, and then Guts throws a wine on his Yeah, I'll agree with you. It's kind of like more of a comedic chapter until the end.
Yeah.
A lot of kind of quick cuts to physical comedy. And you know, Colette is her name, which you'll find out later. She says those awful wounds, what happened. And you know, Guts' evil spirits are after him. And like, I like how like Colette is kind of like more, what's the word? More skeptical. Because, like, the priest's reaction, he looked shocked when Guts said that, where she was like, that can't be true. I kind of like, you know, we're seeing these different sides of how people react to Guts' claims, and how that will manifest later. I can't talk today.
It's a Friday.
It is a Friday. Recording a Berserk podcast on a Friday night. God, you're pathetic.
I will say one thing I do. I'm gonna like kind of make a hypocrite of myself, because I said in the last episode I don't like Puck, but the more I kind of look at the panels of Puck in this, I am kind of warming up to him. Like the panel of him when he's trying to drink the wine is hilarious to me. Just his like little how he looks, it kills me.
Yeah, like a lot of these early chapters had like the physical kind of like comedy, and the squash and stretch of Puck was a lot more distinct.
Yeah.
Whereas later on, Puck takes on Chestnut Puck, which is kind of like a chibi version of Puck. And that's it. No more kind of squash and stretch of his character design. It's just that forever.
Yeah.
And he sometimes dresses up as different characters. You know, it's kind of a shame. I kind of liked how, you know, his features got longer and kind of more cartoony.
I don't really...
It was fun.
I don't have an issue with Puck, like... I guess his comedy when it's like this, because it's more like a thing like you kind of just like catch in the background, which is funny. That's how I kind of like a character like that in a serious like series like this. As long as it's not like obnoxious and it's taking up time, like a lot of panels, I genuinely don't care majority of the time.
As long as the comedy, doesn't become a plot point,
yeah,
that's where it kind of loses it for me. off tangent, Sanji in One Piece has this problem, and I fucking hate it every time. Because his comedy becomes a plot point sometimes, like, why are we wasting time with this?
Yeah.
Just do the funny gag and move on. So, anyway, what do you think of this panel of, Guts sitting down? This is such a good panel of, the Dragon Slayer behind him.
I like how he's just like, is that some sort of sword? And it's even he knows, like, dude, that thing's massive. Like, how are you packing that around?
Is it me or is the scaling weird here for the Dragon Slayer?
It is.
It looks way more thicker than it should be.
Yeah, it looks more like you know how like Zod's sword kind of looks. It looks like a sword the size of a sword that Zod would wield. That's the vibe I get from it.
Yeah, it just looks.
Because it looks bigger than Guts, like wider than Guts. I mean. Yeah,
that's the problem exactly. And maybe it is. Maybe I'm just stupid and can't tell scaling properly, and that's probably it. But let me have this. And I like. What do you think of Guts' little joke he said next? Where he says, "Now I use it for my cooking."
I can see Guts like going up to like a pot of food and just putting the Dragon Slayer in it, and just stirring it like a big old spoon or something. But I like that one a lot. It is really funny.
And again, Guts and Pug definitely have a really good rapport this chapter. Definitely a lot better than last chapter. Mm-hmm. So they've kind of gotten used to each other now, whereas last chapter with the introductions of the characters, Pug makes a comment and says, "Why not open up a roadside grill?" And then Guts kicks the barrel Pug's on. It's quick, clever cuts like that, which kind of add to the scene. Kind of a light-hearted tone of the overlooming scene where the little girl and the father will definitely be okay. And we'll see them in the next chapters. So, the priest notice, it looks like you appear to be a mercenary. And then Guts kind of, what do you think of kind of like the framing of that scene where Guts says, well, something like that?
It's hinting more like at his backstory. It's trying to foreshadow like, It's also saying like, he's not a mercenary, but he's more just killing apostles. Like, it's more for his personal gain, because it's more what a mercenary does. They're more just killing people for personal gain. I can't talk.
Yeah, monetary gain.
Yeah, there you go.
Also, but because his body language changes. So when he's like messing with Puck, he's got his arms crossed quite confidently, kicking the barrel over. And when the priest brings up the word mercenary, Guts kind of, his body language changes. He kind of crouches a bit. He looks down whilst he answers the question, which kind of hints is a subject matter he's not particularly comfortable with talking about. Which definitely hints to his status now, but definitely what happened in the Golden Age, which we'll get to. And, the priest comments he doesn't have much respect for killing other people for a living. And Guts says he doesn't like priests. Because of that.
Yeah.
What do you think of these next 2 pages? Where because I think it's probably the biggest meat of this chapter of getting to know Guts' philosophy in a way. The priest comments his nephew lived by the sword and left home, and he lost his life on the battlefield. Some lowly soldier with no name. He could have made something of himself if he never went. And Guts comments, "What's wrong with that? He died doing what he wanted no matter what, right? I bet he was happy."
I like that, because without getting super philosophical here for this podcast, because I know it's why people tune in, that is that is the whole like point. I mean, because it's better to live, like, me personally, I'd rather live a life where I'm doing something I'm happy than live a long life than where I'm miserable, And it'd be like that. He wanted to fight, and he died, but he was happy doing what he did. And it's kind of the opposite of Guts. Guts, at this point, he's not happy. He's alive, but he's miserable for the most part. So. Yeah,
because this will tie in a lot to his philosophy in the Golden Age, because a lot of Guts' character comes from, who am I, what am I doing here, and what should I live for? That definitely ties into his relationship with Griffith, and, their eventual falling out is a nice way of putting it. Their rivalry and, enemies, I guess, after the events of the eclipse, stems from Guts not knowing who he was. He's raised as a child soldier, and, you know, lived by the sword, he died by the sword. But, you know, his nephew chose to live that life, and that's something which resonates with Guts, because he also chose that life himself.
Mm-hmm.
What's the point of status and the simple pleasures of life? You know, raise a family, do this, do what, I don't know. We live in a society.
Damn it.
I'm getting to that now. But do what society expects of you. Whereas, you know, do what you want to do to live. Even if you make nothing of yourself, live by your own terms. And, you know, that's something which Guts has always done. He's never... What am I trying to say here? Berserk's a lot about defying fate.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's causality. These things will happen in a specific way. But it's about being human and, you know, defying, overcoming the fate which is in store for you, living by your own means. And if that means being a lowly soldier dying on the battlefield, if that's what you truly felt you wanted to do in life, you know.
Mm-hmm. Welcome
Hats
to our
off to you. You did what you...
Welcome to
Go
our TED
ahead.
Talk.
Yeah. Oh. And I really like this next panel where Guts says, of course, once you die, that's it. Nothing comes after that. Nothing at all. I like how kind of like, I don't know, stoic his face is here. It's kind of like, his eyes don't... He's not really emoting much. He's kind of got a dead look in his eyes, because he knows what happens next.
Yeah.
Based on this point of the story. I like how Puck kind of... He looks serious when he's listening to Guts' words. You know, he's not cracking jokes.
Yeah. He's getting a
I
better...
like how that's...
He's getting a better understanding of, like, Guts as a person at this point.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we just have these funny comedic moments there, but when it's time to kind of, like, quiet down and listen to the quiet moments in the chapter, the characters' reactions reflect that. There's not, you know, silly slapstick going on in the background.
Yeah.
The mood... I don't know, the tone sets the mood sets the tone. Either or. And, I like how, you know, Guts says, I'm gonna get a little sleep now, and then, Colette, we haven't even got her name yet in this chapter, but I remember her name's Colette, because, I've read Berserk many times. She puts the chapter over Guts. I like how Guts kind of reacts to this. I don't know if it's just a cute moment of Guts noticing, or trying to hint in, you know, he doesn't like being touched. It's probably the former.
Yeah.
Just like a little cute moment of an innocent girl who definitely won't die, doing something nice for him. I don't know if you have much to comment on this, you know.
I
it's
like
a girl
the
putting a
page
blanket on a
after
person.
where she's looking at Puck, and Puck gives him like that little like cheeky smile. I do like that a lot.
Oh yeah. Kind of a fake smile.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of the lead up to this dream sequence?
Okay, so I just noticed something, and this is kind of blowing my mind. The dream sequence where he's like, it's like panel like 5 panels going down.
Yeah. Yep.
The water bubble, like the droplet, has an eye in it, and that just kind of spooked the fuck out of me when I noticed it.
You know, it's a good... It tells a good story. Like, there's a good motion to the events which are going on. It's very easy to follow, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's kind of like... It's being animated in front of your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see the droplets slowly going down, and they form into this eye movement. And then that forms into Guts' nightmare of the eye beaming down into this corridor. It's a really good visual. Miura does that a lot, where he does the little moments leading up to a big one.
Mm-hmm.
I won't spoil what happens, but there's been a dream sequence in the latest chapters of Berserk. Something very big happens. And it has a lot of that as well, where, you know, characters go on to the next dream sequence. And there'll be little panels leading up to said event. And it's a good use of range of motion and paneling, which Miura is very good at. So even in these early chapters, that's been demonstrated here. What do you think kind of like this dream sequence in general? Of, you know, Guts moving about.
I will say the giant eye in the sky reminds me of Infinite Tsukiyomi from Naruto, oddly. And the thing I was questioning, and I know this is going to be a weird thing to question, why is Guts naked in the stream?
Don't worry about it.
Okay. But, I'm just kind of going through, like, pages, so if I go too fast, let me know. But obviously, like, his brand starts to bleed, and I love on the panel under that, Guts is like by the door. You see a giant shadow by him. Like, shadow's massive. It's like, you can't run from us. And then he steps on.
I never actually noticed that until my last reread of like how his shadow kind of spikes. Because at the beginning, his shadow is kind of like normal.
Mm-hmm.
It's normalized. And when his brand bleeds, it kind of gets more animated, spiky, and demonic, let's say. It's kind of reaction to, you know, the brand activating.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, it's a cool effect.
And then he steps on the little spike, and that makes me cringe. Like, I can't stand it. Like, it's anything like hurting your feet bothers me. So I was. And if you know,
his guts has kind of got like shiver lines. He's got kind of like dotted lines around his character model.
Yeah.
Which, you know, reaction, no, he's kind of like shivering and cringing at the fact, you know, he's been impaled.
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of like adds to the emotion and mood of, you know, the setting. You know, Guts is physically being hurt from this, even if it is a dream. And then we're getting you know, again, you cannot run. And what do you think of this, where Guts' arm disappears? What do you think that means?
Yeah, I was going to ask you that, because I don't know. I was actually wondering that.
I still don't know. I've been trying to figure out why that happens.
I just assume it's like a way for him to like fight back, and he loses it, so he's now.
That's a good, yeah. You know, that arm is a tie to, you know, it's new weaponry for him, and it's kind of like his first step into the Black Swordsman. And he's most vulnerable when he doesn't have that weaponry on him. And it's just a reminder of how he lost that arm and why. Because, you know, he loses it from the eclipse, you know that already. And the cannon arm was a physical reminder of that. And when that's gone, he's looking at the stump. He's reminded, oh yeah, my arm's fucking gone. And he has no means of protection. And what do you think of the giant demon baby?
It's fucking terrifying, dude. Like, Guts' reaction under that, where he's just like screaming, that's me. Like, if I saw that, I'd be like, dude, what is going on?
At first, I'd be wondering where did my sick cannon arm go? I want that back.
But first, it's not the giant, like, demon fetus, but no, it's the cannon arm.
So then, the next page, the reveal comes out. There's an incubus all along. And these are kind of like early Berserk monsters. They haven't appeared much later in the series. I'm trying to think of when. They appeared in Lost Children, in the Conviction arc. I remember they appeared then. Mm-hmm. They appeared in Conviction, I believe, as well. And I think there's some, like, dotting about in the Astral World. So they're more prevalent in the early series where Guts has nightmares, definitely. But
they remind me
they're kind of adding to the lore and world of Berserk.
They remind me of a Zelda enemy, and I can't think of which enemy it is, but I don't know if I'm thinking of like an Octorok or what, but they remind me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, maybe like an Octorok kind of thing.
They remind me of that for some weird reason, and I don't.
It does look like a Zelda enemy, but also classic, kind of like it looks like kind of. I think an incubus is an actual mythological creature. Mm-hmm. Quote me if I'm wrong on that in the comments, but I think this is an actual thing. Because it does, but it designed just like reek of familiarity,
yeah.
Which it doesn't look like a Miura original, let's say. What do you think? I like where Guts stabs and he just puts it next to Puck.
Yeah.
And then Puck just wakes up and he's staring. I kind of like, you know, the physical comedy again. You see like Puck kind of like bouncing off the wagon's walls like a pinball.
Mm-hmm. And he also bounces off of the priest's head, which I like.
Oh yeah, I never noticed that actually. I like how these people are surprised by this, where the priest is like, "What is that thing?" And God's like, "I warned you, bro."
It's just a prank.
Guts explains that's an incubus. It's just a prank, bro. You're being recorded. You know, Guts explains this an incubus, kind of gives some lore. They're evil spirits that give people nightmares and feed off that fear. And, you know, Guts encounters these every night when he's sleeping. Until, there's like, we'll get to that when we get to Lost Children. There's one where he's sleeping in a barn. An old abandoned barn, and one of these comes, and there's a cool visual where he just, like, slams it with his cannon arm and squashes it.
That's pretty cool.
And that's like that's a pretty cool image. And, you know, when Guts says, "Damn, they won't even give me time to sleep," it makes me think that these are quite a recent enemy he's run into. Mm-hmm. That's something I've never understood. How does Guts know what these are called? And how does he know what they... Did Guts name these? Or did he Do you know what I mean?
I think it's one of those things that you're just not supposed to question. Like, that's what because, like, when it comes to, like, enemy names, unless the hero specifically says, like, he names it, I usually just kind of don't worry about it.
Yeah, maybe I'm being dumb. Maybe this has been explained somewhere. I might do some research after this. But, you know, I don't think it's something that, you know, Skull Knight would have said to him.
Yeah.
Because Guts doesn't encounter Skull Knight after this until Conviction, on the way to Albion.
Mm-hmm.
He encounters him with Puck on the road there. So, and he definitely didn't tell him after the Golden Age. He told him about the nature of the interstice, and the brand, and stuff like that, but I don't think he named specific. I'm thinking too much about this. It's just like, don't worry about it. So anyway, don't think about it. So, you know, as Guts says, they won't give me time to sleep. It makes me think, I don't know what about you, that it's a recent thing that Guts hasn't encountered often.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, because even if they won't even give me time to sleep, it gives me a thought that these have been like a recent annoyance to him, otherwise he wouldn't. It would just be like business as usual. We'd be like, oh, these dudes again. I like. What do you think the priest got evil spirits? You mean what you said before was true?
It's like.
And God says you're saying you believe in God but not in evil spirits.
Exactly. Here's the thing, and I'm assuming this priest has to know these things exist. Like, he lives in this world, so how does he not know there's, like, evil demons running around, or spirits, whatever? Like, unless, I don't know, that's something that's just kind of strange to me. That might be nitpicky, I know, but you live in this world, how do you not know about these evil spirits? He's also a priest!
Yeah, like, that's something I never got about the Apostle Mantra, because they're like, do as thou wilt. That's the Apostle Mantra, just do what you want. And a lot of them, you know, like the Count did, they took over like a whole kingdom. Some of them are quite, Zod lives for a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but it seems like they're not a lot in the public eye. Until Guts comes around, because, you know, the brand attracts these things. So the reason why the priest necessarily hasn't seen these evil spirits, let's say, is because Guts attracts them with a brand. Mm-hmm. And Guts is kind of a special case because he's a surviving member of a sacrifice, and that's not meant to happen, and because of that, you know, people are after his flesh and blood. It's a different story for apostles, but normal people wouldn't necessarily see spirits unless Guts is nearby. Mm-hmm. So that's why, I guess. And my voice is going already. Have you you know, this I've seen this this next panel, because of this thing summons them. You might have seen a lot of, like, meme edits of this panel.
I don't think I have.
There's one where, like, Guts says because of this thing summons them. It's like the Bluetooth logo.
I like.
There's another one, you know the cool. Have you seen, like, the cool S?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one where it's the cool S instead on his neck.
That's terrible.
It's like, I like how his this is a very 80s manga kind of effect. You know, his eyes are kind of like shaded out.
Yeah.
You know, it's the badass. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure did this a lot in early parts. You know, the big. Oh, so did Kenshin as well. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of these big manly men 80s manga had the eyes shaded out when the hero wanted to look cool.
So, okay, so answer this for me, because this is how I'm assuming this. So, like, when I first read the first chapter, and I think I brought this up in the first episode, I assumed that the brand was a way for, like, Guts could use it like a spider sense, kind of, to, like, know when the evil spirits, whatever demons, you know, were coming. I get the more sense from this where it was, like, a tracker from him. Like, they could track him because he has the brand.
Yeah, it works both ways.
Okay.
So they can track him, but he can track them.
Oh.
So apostles can track him through the brand. That happens at the end of the Golden Age, actually. Mm-hmm. But the brand attracts spirits as well to him. But it also acts as a spider sense. So when they're nearby, the brand bleeds and reacts.
Okay.
It's kind of like a two-way street in a way.
So literally it's Bluetooth then. In a way.
Yeah, pretty much, because even, we'll get to this when we cover Golden Age, but Skull Knight says use the brand to find them if you mean to hunt them. Mm-hmm. So Guts kind of like, he walks about, and if it's reacting, you know, he knows he's nearby. That's how Guts kind of like, has been finding these apostles all
well, for the past 2 years, we have a timeline. So, the brand reacts. Yeah, even Guts says this thing summons them, so... And, what the... Incubi are born of the mix... Because this is what I don't get as well. Is this me nitpicking? Because Guts even says, like, incubi are born of the mixed blood and sexual fluids of those who died filled with hatred and malice. How does he know this?
Yeah, I was just saying, how does he know this? Is there something you're not telling us, Guts?
I might be really stupid. Like, you can revoke my Berserk fan badge if this was genuinely explained. Like, leave it in the comments if this was. But I don't know why I'm, like, picking this up now.
Yeah.
I don't know why Guts knows all these details unless just Skull Knight told him off screen. Because I don't think in the Berserk world there's been a lot of research on... there's a lot of kind of, like, religious cults and stuff in the Berserk world. Like, the Holy See is the big religious organisation. There's kind of, like, heretical cults. That's a big kind of focus of the Conviction arc, which is in 2 arcs' time. But I don't think there's necessarily been research on what the brand is, apart from witches and the astral kind of like... I know the magic people of Berserk, let's say. The astral world ties into the brand, and the astral creatures, which the incubi are, who exist in the interstice. Wizards and witches do research on that, but Guts won't meet those people until 200 chapters time, maybe a bit less. About 200 chapters time. So I don't know how he knows all this. But maybe I'm nitpicking. I think it's just like exposition dump, but I kind of wish Miura in these early chapters did a better way of like how does Guts know this.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Guts like he should have had like a big book on him, like a big nerd book.
Guts' big book of trivia.
Yeah, exactly. And it's got a joke book in it. He just tells dad jokes.
Guts would be that kind of guy to tell dad jokes, actually.
So, Guts explains that the incubi means that somewhere around here there must be corpses of bandits who died violently. Corpses that the demons will possess and use to attack. What do you think about a panel where Guts says that and, he's got a very intense look on his face?
He knows some things are about to go down, basically.
Yeah.
It's basically...
And I kind of like, this piece of dialogue kind of like applies throughout the series, because, corpses that the demons will possess. Demons can't only possess corpses, they can possess anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like any living thing. Like you'll see later, they possess animals, they possess humans. They can come out of plants as well.
Really?
Pretty much anything goes for a demon. They just want flesh to inhabit.
Yeah.
And then the horses start reacting. And what do you think of what happens to the poor innocent girl who's totally fine?
I'm gonna be honest with you, Philip. I was really shocked when she died. That may be twist of the year for me. Like some Shyamalan stuff going on right here.
Yeah.
She's weak to water and spears, apparently.
Yeah. Oh, God. This panel, like, it's a good... What do you think of the visuals? It's silhouetted.
It's really good. And before we go, I do want to say this. One thing is, while this girl is only in this for, like, 1 chapter, it did make me like her enough where I did care where she did die. So,
yeah,
like, she doesn't do... Like, she doesn't do much, but it's like, you do care about her. She seems like a good person. So when she does die, you're like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah. Like, she was like the nice kind of like girl who didn't deserve any of that as soon as she was introduced, which means in Berserk she's fucking dead.
Yeah.
And it's still sad. Kind of Guts. It shows Guts has a heart because he even says, "Stupid girl, don't get out of the carriage."
Mm-hmm.
And that panel of his eye, it kind of widens in a way where he's shocked.
Oh yeah.
He's not. It's not one of like not caring. As he said to Puck, I hate weaklings. He's genuinely shocked that this happened to this girl. Then, this is where you find out her name, Colette. As the only time the priest uses her name. He shouts Colette, she's poor girl's dead. What do you think of this panel of spooky, scary skeletons?
It's
sending
really
shivers down your spine.
it's really good. It's really good artwork.
I really like the ones at the top of the page of a skeleton kind of like rising out of the swamp or the ground, let's say. And his eyes are glowing. You know the skeleton surrounding them. I like how some of them are wearing armor as well. You know, they're not all just naked skeletons. Some have got
That one has
kind
a
of like
Viking
Viking
hat.
helmets on. Yeah, one of them has got plate mail in the middle, and some of them have weapons, some of them don't. Like I think one of them has a sword, a couple of them have spears. A lot of variety for our no flesh friends.
Yeah. The ones with the Viking hats are like, it's us, the guys from Vinland Saga.
Yeah. Shut up.
That's me still
See?
not watching it.
They watch Vinland Saga. They know what's going on. Which you all should. And what do you think? I don't want to say anything because I don't kind of. What do you think of these next 2 pages? Was there anything which stuck out to you?
Guts' face on the one panel, he's like looking, it's just like dots, and he's just like looking at the skeletons. He's like, yep, I'm about to fuck you guys up. And then he shoots them with arrows, which I really like. Which I don't know what he's thinking, or knives, or they're knives technically. I don't know what he's thinking by throwing these throwing knives at the skeletons. Like, it's not going to do anything to them. They're skeletons.
Yeah, he's slowing them down. What I like is he looks at Colette's dead body, and kind of like. His mouth is slightly open when he looks at it. You know, he's kind of like flinching a bit in a way. You can tell he's kind of like disturbed by this image. But then he looks at it closer, and then, you know, he gets that crazed look on his face. And that's him switching into, you know, Black Swordsman mode of like, I don't give a fuck, let's murder some dudes. I think it's a good juxtaposition of, you know, looking at Colette. And, you know, Guts is disturbed by that, but, you know, he's thinking, you know, she's weak. He's trying to switch to his fake persona of like, she's weak. What matters now is I kill these dudes, and giving that crazed look. I don't know. It says a lot without giving any dialogue. If you know what I mean. I think it's pretty cool. So we move on to you know, Guts throwing knives at the spooky dudes. What do you think of this dialogue of who's saying this? It's no use. You can't kill something that's already dead. I think that's Puck.
It's Silver.
Yeah,
it's no use.
No use.
It's just in the.
I wish Puck says people die when they are killed.
I wish.
Yeah, it's Puck saying it. Sorry, that's me being stupid.
Could Puck technically fight these guys? And let me, because I'm about to go with something really stupid when I say this here. But like a skeleton, you could just kind of run through one of them. He could probably break one of them like in half.
We've got fucking swords. I don't know how to do that.
I don't know. It's an idea. Like, give Puck a little like throwing knife and just cut him or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Puck has the Zandatsu.
That's true.
His fucking. Which is like a little pollen, whatever, little pollen flower, which he uses, which can like take on some low-level spirits. So I can't take this page seriously because Berserk 2016 adapts these fucking 2 pages like word for word, and it's awful. Because I think like also there's I think it's on IGN YouTube channel. There's like a dub clip of this scene. And like the dub's awful. Like I don't blame the voice actors. It's probably the voice direction, and they're probably trying their best. But Park sounds like a really high pitched girl, and I hate. Right, this might be me personally, but I don't see Park as a high pitched girl in a dub. Have you ever heard the Berserk Dreamcast game dub?
No.
At all.
I haven't.
So he's voiced by Liquid Snake in that.
That's
in
awesome.
That game. But it's not that he's kind of like, whoa, I'm Puck, hey Guts, kind of like that. And that's how I imagined him. He still had like a boy voice, but kind of goofy. Whereas in the Berserk 2016 dub, he's got a very high, basically girl voice. Which, you know, I don't imagine for that kind of character, even if he's a cute bishy elf. And Guts, and then Guts says something like in the dub, he sounds like, comes with the territory. Just like that. It's really badly delivered. And then bad CGI fighting galore. Too long didn't hear. Don't watch the Berserk dub. Don't watch Berserk 2016 at all.
I think
It's bad.
we'll quickly off topic with this. I'll tell you on topic. I do recommend watching the 90s anime dubbed. You can really do either one, sub or dub, but they're both perfectly fine. The only
What, the 97 one?
Yeah.
Totally. The dub's great.
yeah. Especially like
for I like it better than the sub, actually.
same,
Berserk
but
97 dub.
the thing also with the dub is you get the amazing
The only voice I
bloopers.
don't like is Casca's. I don't think it fits.
Yeah, that I do agree
But
with.
everyone else's is very good, especially Guts and Griffith. They nailed them. But they changed them in Berserk 2016, and they gave Griffith a fucking, like, derpy American voice.
It's because he's
Don't
just
do that.
it's because he's a girl that just can't say no.
Yeah.
Can't
It's
seem
cool
to-
when he had, like, a little British accent in the original dub.
Exactly.
They gave him a lame American voice in there. Okay, we shouldn't complain about the anime. I don't- So, what do you think of this next panel of Guts going, screaming, yeah, as he takes on... It's a cool panel.
It is really cool. A lot of this chapter, the later parts of it, like I think the next few pages are just him fighting the skeletons, but the artwork's really, really good.
Yeah, him fighting the spooky lot.
The next next page with him, where he's like, it looks like he's kind of like running while holding the Dragon Slayer up, and his face is silhouetted. It's really cool looking.
Yeah, he's actually Guts invented the Naruto run. If you look carefully.
Oh yeah, he's gonna go raid Area 51.
Yeah, he's gonna see them aliens.
Can you please, if you can find a way to stretch that out, you need to make that the thumbnail. That would be great.
Yeah. I'll put on the headband on him.
That would be great. Can you?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was gonna say if you could silhouette that, but it probably wouldn't look good. So
Yeah, I'll find a way around it. I'm definitely gonna
that would be awesome.
try and stretch that out. So we have Guts Naruto running as he's holding the dragon. Because like whenever Guts uses the Dragon Slayer in one hand, I know like my suspension of disbelief. Like how fucking strong is this guy?
He's got to be
Like
super
the Dragon
strong.
Slayer is like calculated to be at least 400 pounds. I think at least 400 pounds. Like swinging that thing around like it's nothing. Like So what is 400 pounds? It's heavy.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Say it's very heavy. And I like how Guts he cuts one of the Viking bro skeletons in half. That poor guy. He just wanted to wear a little Viking hat and watch anime of the year, Vinland Saga. That's all he wanted to do.
Don't you mean Fire Force? That's an anime that's out now, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't even finish the first episode because I found it boring.
Haven't watched it, but that's the one I hear people talking about, so I went with it.
Well,
But
they'll
I
always
wanna
talk about the shonens before my kind of obscure seinens.
I will say the panel of Guts like holding his sword, the like skeletons are surrounding him. There's one skeleton head in the floor, and there's like a little skeleton hand sticking up. I specifically put my
Yeah.
notes. I would give anything in the world, and we've made so many Zelda references in this part. I know, but if he like, you know how like in Breath of the Wild you can use like little like skeleton hands to fight.
Oh yeah,
and
just
go-
pick it up.
If
Yeah.
he did that, hit him with it, it would be great. But
Guts is the type of person to do that though. If everything else fails, he uses his environment to his advantage.
I like that.
In the Eclipse, he uses the horn of one of the apostles as his fighting weapon.
Oh yeah,
And breaks it off, and yeah, he uses that as like kind of a spear.
it would be
Which
cool.
is kind of cool. And
It'd be
he
even
uses his
better.
teeth a lot, as we know.
It would be cool if he like got the little skeleton head and like hit it like with a Dragon Slayer, like it was like a baseball. That'd been pretty cool too. I'm kind of ruining this and being nitpicky, but one thing I do not like about this panel, we brought it up. The Dragon Slayer, it looks massive here. It actually looks like it's gonna like stretch out of the panel. It's so big.
Have you seen there's an edit, you know, in Berserk 97, it's the scene where Guts is on the rooftop and he's like, I'm gonna live for Griffith and fight for him.
Yeah.
And it does like a pan up like to his sword. There's one where the edit where the pan up to the sword never ends. So it just keeps going up and up and up forever. Pretty funny.
That is pretty amazing.
So, what about this next panel where Guts is kind of images you can hear? You know, Guts is kind of he's got his lips together. Before like he's bracing, you know, he's kind of tired out from hitting all these skeletons. He's kind of like pouting a bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's making that something like a sound fucking Zoro would make in One Piece when he's tired.
Yeah.
Making that same facial expression. I can hear that sound.
That's one thing I like about
braces.
Berserk is
Yeah.
I do like when you see, because I mean it's obviously there's no like sound with it because it's a manga, but when you see Guts do movements, and maybe this is just where I've read manga for so long, or I can just do this. I guess you can kind of like imagine the sounds that it makes, and I think it's more engrossing. But I feel like Berserk does it better than a lot of them. Like if you compare this to like we just kind of mentioned like Zoro's like One Piece. I can kind of like when Guts is like hitting these guys, I can kind of like imagine the sound of it, and it adds like it's that little
clang.
Yeah, well, no, but it's like that oomph, I guess, because I even put like the sound marks. I guess it's like where the skeletons are screeching and stuff, but I don't know. It just adds to it in a weird way.
If you want to watch a Berserk show with really good sound design, I recommend Berserk 2016.
I love the clangs. All the frying pans clanging together.
My favourite part is where Guts hits ghosts and it makes a clang sound. It's really cool.
I think
I'm glad that show exists.
We're kind of off topic, but something that does like sounds like that really well is Doom 2016. I think because they use like a bunch
it's
of like
kind of like squishy.
Yeah, it's cool. Really good.
And I like this panel of like where Guts is preparing to take another swing. He's gonna go like speed lines on his sword on the Dragon Slayer. He's kind of like going in for another swipe of the skeletons as they're screaming at him. And, you know, Miura, as I said, I'm gonna repeat myself to death. Very good at showing motion.
Yeah.
You know, just adding kind of this blur effect of a Dragon Slayer. Kind of shows how fast that thing is fucking going. And it's cool.
This panel of the Viking skeleton with his spear hanging out and Guts getting ready to swing at him. The Viking skeleton is you saying "Watch Vinland Saga" and I'm Guts. Like it's like "Watch Vinland Saga" and it's me. No.
Yeah, that's me. Watch Vinland Saga, fucker.
If you can't get that one to work, if you can stretch that one out with the headband around Guts, that would be pretty amazing.
Yeah. I will do that. You know, no, yeah, there's not much to say because this, you know, this chapter is very action orientated. A lot of cool shots. I kind of like how Guts has the silhouetted one eye illuminated look as he's taking out the skeleton on this panel here. You know, it's basically like Guts is in his, I don't know, Black Swordsman mode right now, where he's just annihilating shit. And Miura really likes this visual. He uses that a lot in Black Swordsman. No, not Lost Children. The whole face illuminated apart from one eye. It's cool. It's cool, let's say. And then, you know, Guts taking out the little skellies. And what do you think of these next 2 pages of the reveal of what happened to the priest father who's definitely still alive?
I like the build up to it, even though it's obvious what was going to happen. Cause I think as they have Puck do it, I think it. I don't know. I just think it works better because if Guts walked in there, he'd be like, "Oh, whatever, it's okay." Puck is genuinely surprised by this, and for good reason. I didn't see what happens to him coming. Well, I saw it coming, but the way they do it, I didn't see that coming, and it was initially pretty shocking. I have to say.
Yeah. No. As you said, it's got a good build up because you know you see Puck react to it, and you know Miura just doesn't show it right away. You know, Guts says, "Can't you see I'm busy?" You see the blood drop on the floor first, then you see the head, and then you see the reveal of Colette holding the paw. Ugh, I hate the visual as she's holding it like kind of a basket.
Yeah,
you know, it's kind of like she's holding it by the looms of like his hair, like above his bald spot. It's really unsettling.
I think it adds to it though. It's supposed to look.
Yeah, it adds like a weird normalcy to this horrible event because of the way she's holding it. She's holding it like as you would a basket, and yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. Goblins.
I don't like them.
You know, her face is silhouetted, and she's got a very evil grin. At least you don't have to complain about her weird bishy anime eyes anymore.
That is true. Wait.
This is how you know she's evil.
Oh, I thought for a minute you said cut, and then I thought you said cut out. I was like, whoa, I don't remember that.
No.
I was like,
that would
be
hardcore.
Intense though.
No, they're just shadowed.
I do like that though.
I like how like Guts is like freaked out by this. You know, he's generally unnerved. He's sweating.
Yeah.
And his eyes kind of widened.
Well, it's because he knows, like, this girl, like, for, like, the, what day he's known her, he knows that she's not like that, so when he sees it, he's like, what the fuck just happened?
I like how, like, the skeletons with glowy eyes just silhouetted, like, forgot about us, fucker.
It's like, hey, bro, you posted cringe.
Yeah, hey, bro, you just posted cringe, just gonna let you know you're gonna lose subscriber. So, you know, she drops the head. Oh, poor little priest, man. And then, yeah, what do you think of this? I know you complained about her eyes before, but what do you think of this panel of them just kind of like wide fucking open?
I like it. They're intense looking. Like,
yeah, it's really unsettling. And I kind of like how the skeletons are just looking at this happen, like everything's gone to a standstill. I don't know, like why are the skeletons trying to kill him? But I think it's a cool image of like how intimidating this image is. Like time's kind of stood still for this to unfold. Oh, I'm a sucker for stuff like that.
It's like the skeletons. I'm gonna completely ruin this moment by trying to make a really bad joke here. But it's like they're ganging up like they're about to watch a fight, and that Viking skeleton's gonna be like, World Star! But,
yeah, I put 50 on Colette. Let's guess. So, what do you think of this panel? You know, back to the good old days 10 minutes ago with little bishy eyes. Colette with her little wine, looking all innocent. But more importantly than that, what do you think of Guts' reaction to the panel below?
He's shocked because he knows she's gonna try and like fight him, and obviously he probably doesn't want to kill her. I mean, she's already dead at this point. Let's be honest. But yeah, he doesn't want to do anything to her. But he like opens that eye up because he knows what's about to happen. And then in the next panel, she stabs him. So
yeah, just back to the one where Guts is kind of like reacting to this. There's a lot of like hidden detail there. I kind of, Guts is sweating again. I kind of like his eyebrows are furrowed as well. Like, his face is creasing up at this revelation reaction, let's say. His eyebrows are furrowed, he's creasing up, he's sweating. His eyes open, but notice how his pupils are also dilating. So this isn't like fake shock, this is genuine fucking like shock of what's going on. And I don't think Miura's the best with faces early on in Berserk, but stuff like this shows he's definitely got it. And it's just a really good image in general. There's like a lot of comparison images where Miura likes to show the top half face of Guts, where it's just like his eyes to the top half of his nose over the years. There's a lot of fan images of people comparing that from Guts from child to now. That's one of the images which are used, which is pretty cool. And as you said, Colette stabs him because Guts lost his guard for a second. How did you interpret this? Because I think it's kind of interesting. Guts, we saw him fighting people where his sword movements were so quick people could barely see them. But here he is getting stabbed by a slow walking little skeleton girl. It's
because he didn't want to fight her. I mean, like, he just met this girl like a day ago, if even that, maybe the same day. But it's an innocent girl. He probably wasn't expecting her to actually like try and come up and stab him. So when he does, he's initially shocked. Because like you can even tell in the panel like down below, he's like shocked by it. So
yeah. No, sorry, I kind of lost my thought there. As you said, he is shocked by it because previously he saw her as the innocent little girl and he lost his composure.
Yeah.
And it just shows another layer to Guts we didn't really see in the last chapter until, because the last chapter was definitely the introduction of this badass black swordsman. A lot of manga has to do with this. You have to have a good hook as you start off. That's why a lot of manga start off with a big, bombastic action set piece. And then flashback to the quieter stuff. Vinland Saga also does that. I don't know if you heard of it, but that's also a good manga you should all check out. And it's kind of giving more facets to Guts' character. He let himself get stabbed because for a moment he hesitated. And in what Guts is doing, that will get him killed. But it shows there's still humanity within him. This was said without words. It's not like Guts is having internal monologues like, she's just a little girl, I don't want to do this, He didn't say anything. One look and one reaction shot of him getting stabbed was enough. What do you think of the next panel where it's just like pure white, where Guts yeets yeets Colette?
I like it a lot because it is a really dramatic shot. Because I brought this up, but you do kind of get attached to this girl, like like maybe like 40 pages she's in this chapter. But it is sad.
Shut up is enough. It's enough though.
But it is tragic because it even like builds up in the next few pages where Guts is like legit kind of like he is like shooken up a little bit by it. I mean, obviously, and I like. Do
you notice this in a lot of manga? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, you're fine. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, do you notice this in a lot of manga where it's a really dramatic scene, there's no background at all?
Yeah, it's just white usually.
Yeah, a lot of stuff does this. I don't know why. It's really effective, but I'm not sure if you knew or anything. Because a lot of stuff does. Does One Piece do this? I think One Piece has done it before.
I think it does.
It's done it when Blackbeard was like, when they meet on Jaya, he says, "Gotta live for your dream" or something.
Yeah,
no, don't let your dreams die, something like that.
Yeah.
It's a complete white background. And Vinland Saga also does it. Berserk does it a lot as well, where Guts reunites with a certain person in Conviction. It also does this pure white background shot. It's just a way of having the focus on the character interactions and moments, I guess. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like showing this is what you should be focusing on, because look how dramatic this is. What do you think of kind of like Miura's paneling where there's blood splurts just on their own and then they splatter on Guts as he does it?
Okay, so it looks like if you were a first-time reader, when you see the white, it looks like Guts is crying while he's moving. And I know that's not what it is, but still.
But that's an interesting interpretation, honestly, because why would they be white? I get maybe it's to blend better against the, Guts is mostly clad in black.
Yeah.
If they made those blood black, you wouldn't be able to see them. But I don't know, that's kind of like an interesting interpretation, just saying, blood and also crying. Blood and tears.
It could be like a metaphorical thing.
Yeah. Metaphor for killing little girls. God, they're gonna use that when they arrest me eventually.
Here come the police.
Out of the courtroom. So on Gettin Gutsy episode 1, you said metaphor for killing little girls. So yeah, then we get these. Oh, that joke didn't hit.
The next panel is actually the fans. This the skeletons being like, "Dude, that joke's not funny."
Dude, you said cringe. You're gonna lose subscribers. So the skeletons are laughing at my cringe joke.
Oh, they're laughing?
Puck's very upset
by it.
Screaming. Yeah, they are screaming.
Oh.
They're screaming. Puck's very upset. By just what? I like how Puck's kind of shivering as well.
Yeah, he's freaked out.
What? I really like this fucking panel here. I just want to say, these next 2 pages, you just tell me about them. Because I want to say after what I liked about them.
I like the skeleton jumping up, to attack Guts from behind, and then Guts just like turns around and just cleaves them in half, and then Guts throws up. Well, he throws up. Because he's sick, because he just cut a little girl in half. I mean,
do you know why? Like, look on the previous page. Do you know why he throws up?
Because he has the blood on her? Or blood on him?
Yeah, he has the blood on his face. Look, there's blood on his face. He knows it's her blood.
Oh, okay.
And that's why he throws up. That's not on him previously, because you see the blood splatter on him on the previous page. And then it's on his face afterwards. Because it's on his face before he attacks any of his skeletons. So, yeah, that's the blood from Colette. I like how fucking shocked he is, because he can feel blood dripping down. He's like, hold on, when did this get here? Oh shit. It's a good realization, add some humanity, again, to Guts.
Yeah.
He immediately relax. Yeah, he relaxes after this. He takes a nice, he goes on a spa with Puck. He reacts to this, and he throws up immediately after. Again, Miura telling stories visually, so spelling it out, which a good mangaka should do. You shouldn't just put an entire page full of text, Hunter Hunter. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So Guts throws up. He blocks the skeletons. Do you like how he keeps throwing up?
Oh yeah. He does do that.
It's kind of like a nice detail, whereas it's not over immediately. It's something which is stuck in by him. He throws up like two panels after that, because he can't fight properly. What do you think kind of these panels of like him trying to get his bearings when he's obviously kind of like fucked up from this whole ordeal?
Yeah, and the skeletons are just still attacking him. They're like, dude, come on, just give me like 5 minutes, guys.
Yes. Yeah, and I like how in the Dark Horse translations at least, and oh no, it will only be in the deluxe edition because Dark Horse didn't used to translate sound effects. They started translating sound effects in volume, I want to say in the 20s, maybe 1820. It was when Conviction happened. No, I want to say 14. Don't quote me on that. Volume 14, they might have started translating sound effects. But they started doing them for the old deluxe editions. So the sound effects here is Guts is trembling as he's standing up. The kanji around when he's gripping the Dragon Slayer is a grip. You know, he's kind of trembling as he does it. You know, he's not in his best mind right now, obviously, because he's got the blood of a little girl on him. And, you know, he screams to kind of get himself into a fighting mood. What do you think of this? This is a panel I see a lot of, like, best Berserk artwork of, you know, the Guts, the double page spread of Guts, letting loose on the skellies.
That one is really good. That's probably my favorite panel in this, well, double panel technically, in this chapter by far. I think it helps that he's cutting one of the skeletons in half and they're flying through the air as well. It looks like he's also jumping in towards the skeletons. I really like that artwork a lot. Also, the skeletons are pretty well detailed, surprisingly. Like, for like a widespread...
Yeah, and again, like, I like how they're not all clones of each other. You know, some of them are very different, because, you know, there's two skeletons wearing, like, Viking-type hats, but they're helmets, not hats.
Same thing, technically.
Viking helmets, but they're completely different. Some of the horns on the skeletons are shorter, while some of them are longer. One of them's wearing, like, a more full helmet on the far right. You know, even the weapons, kind of like, some are more chipped than others. You know, Miura kind of put detail where he didn't need to in, like, each of these skeletons, where he could have just cloned them. Adds a lot of, I don't know, realism to a fighting skeleton scene, I guess. It's cool. You know, Guts again with the illuminated face, with the silhouetted face with one eye illuminated. The blur lines around the Dragon Slayer to highlight the speed. You know, it's a cool shot.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool.
I give it a solid 6 out of 4.
This gets my first 10 out of 5. What do you think of the next morning shot? Because I think it's kind of somber, all things considering.
I like it, and I'm glad they did this in a way, because while it would have been cool to see Guts like take on all the skeletons, we've already had a bunch of pages seeing that, so it probably would get old after a while. But that's a trope I do like, as long as it's not like a huge plot important battle and they just skip over it, looking at you, One Piece. I don't have an issue with it.
No, One Piece will cover it in a flashback in 700 chapters.
Or no, they'll
be like, whoa,
they'll
that fucking world building mode.
They'll cover it. Shut up. They'll cover it in one chapter, and it'll last like 2 panels.
Yeah. See, Oda did remember. They had a Denden Mushi to the, I don't know if it's one panel character the whole time.
I just want to see Akainu fight Kizaru. Other ice dude, can't think of his name.
No, you'll hear about it in like an offshoot and being like, that's what Punk Hazard came to be. Don't worry about it, you'll never see it though. Anyway, back to Berserk. You know, kind of like the somber shot of you know, the sunlight kind of like peering through the clouds as like dawn breaks. You know, like I kind of like Miura kind of like adds lighting to the forest as well. You can see the beams of light cutting through the trees, and I like how it's kind of like illuminating Guts around him as well. It's kind of like a peaceful moment in this kind of awful, horrific setting. You know, it kind of looks like not a Renaissance painting, but you know what I mean. Something you've seen in these old-timey wimey paintings. You know, Guts kind of leaning on a sword in a forest struck by dawn, but with like skeletons around him. You know, exhausted.
And it's also,
if this wasn't surrounded by the context of what just happened, it would be kind of beautiful. If you get what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I can get that.
Yeah.
I also do like that
Like
you
a nice
see
panel.
the evil spirits coming out of the skeletons, and they look really similar to the spirits you see the front page of the chapter.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so let me turn the page. Yeah, no, how Puck says, I guess it's all over. What do you think of this page of kind of Guts looking at the body?
It's really sad. Like, it is tragic that someone innocent has to die. And Guts even knows that he's like, this shouldn't have happened. And he's also...
Yeah.
I know he's a fictional character. He's also probably thinking, if I wouldn't go on that carriage, this never would have happened. So... Because even, like,
One
next panel...
detail I do like, let me just turn the page... Oh, Guts is sweating a lot anyway. I was going to say Guts was sweating more when he's looking at the body, but I don't think that's necessarily true. But he's definitely kind of like, his face creases up a bit. Where, he's very tired, his eyes are widened, he's gasping for air. But when he looks at that body, he kind of like, not relaxes, but kind of snaps back to reality for a moment.
Yeah.
Of what just happened, and he kind of tenses up a bit. Now, as Puck says, it wasn't his fault. And, Guts laughing at the cringe we just posted. What do you think of this next page of Guts' dialogue to Puck, where it's like, weak bitches ain't shit?
I would love it. Okay. That actually, I need the edit of that as well. That'd be funny. But, yeah, he's saying this to Puck, but he's probably trying to convince himself, and he's also trying to look strong in front of Puck. When he knows it's
definitely
the opposite. It's more, it sucks they died, And also, weak bitches ain't shit. That part as well.
Bitches, yeah, that's what he exactly says. So if they can't live their life freely, they're better off dead. I think, like, Puck can tell at this point this is a facade by Guts. Because if you notice in the first chapter, Puck was like, oh, you're an evil person, as he said it in the, kind of insulted him and flew off. But look at Guts's. Puck's reaction here. He's kind of not saying anything to Guts. He's just kind of like looking at him solemnly, kind of feeling sorry for him.
Yeah.
He kind of knows at this point the kind of person Guts is. Do you know Guts' dialogue where it says those two didn't have strength to protect themselves from a walking disaster like me? I like how that's in quotation marks.
Same.
So is it something Guts calls himself, or something people have said to him in the past, maybe? Because
I think it's more
shows
of a thing he calls himself.
Yeah, Guts kind of blames himself for everything, and he kind of like puts a heavy burden on his shoulders, which he shouldn't do because it's not healthy for him. What do you think of this panel where he's got a crazed look on his face, and he says, "If you're always worried about crushing the ants beneath you, you won't be able to walk."
He knows. I mean, Okay, so. Oh, people know, so I don't feel bad. Do you think that is kind of like a nod to, like, Griffith, in a way? Because, maybe not like a nod, but... Griffith would do something similar.
I think it's definitely a hint towards, how Guts' philosophy changed after the eclipse.
There you go, yeah.
Because, what happened to the Hawks, the God Hand just saw them as ants, just a means to an end. And to convince Griffith, Griffith's philosophy in the Golden Age, his whole motive was piling the bodies to reach the castle in the sky. He saw they were still people dear to him, but in the end they were just like stones. They were pavement to get to his dream. But he didn't see them as people, he saw them as tools at the end, even if he did care for them. And Guts, he's applying this philosophy where because those people died in the past because they were weaker than the people that are in front of him. They were weaker than the God Hand, because of course they will be, and the apostles. Guts' new mantra is, I have to keep moving forward and kill them all. I can't let anyone into my life again because they will die. Because I have to get stronger, and anyone else is weaker than them. That's kind of a... If you get what I'm saying, I'm kind of mumbling about it a bit,
No,
He doesn't want anyone in his life because they will be weaker than him.
Yeah.
And he's not really strong enough to take on the apostles as he is. He always wins by a hair or by luck. So, it's just pushing people away for their own good.
Yeah.
And what do you think of this? The next page is where the spirits kind of taunt him.
Yeah. I was trying to think of something funny to say there, but I don't actually have a thing on top of my head.
Oh, wow.
But it sounds
A
really
kid
good.
just died, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Cracking jokes.
I'm kind of the worst person ever. But, yeah, it is sad, because, like, this is probably something he has to do, because on the next panel, he's like, shut up, and he keeps yelling, like, shut up, because he knows, like, he can't escape this. He can try and run away from it, but it's not going to do him any good, so...
Yeah, I kind of, I like his reaction where, like, he's, you know, they're saying, you know, as long as you... This is titled The Brand. The name of this chapter is The Brand, and the spirits are kind of a reminder of what that represents. You know, you can't run from us, we're always watching you. You know, your blood, your flesh, your bones, and your heart. You know, they want his body. As long as he has that brand, he belongs to, you know, the demons. And it's kind of reinforcing that, you know, Guts is a slave, and he's being tortured by the events of the Golden Age, which we'll find out in the next arc, and he's a tortured soul, and he can't, no matter... It's kind of making his quest meaningless, like, right off the bat, because as a reader, you might be wondering at this point, what's Guts doing? You don't really know what his plan is. You know he wants to find the God Hand, but why? And then you'll find out later why. But even then, you start to think, but what's the point? He's still, at the end of the day, he's still got the brand, he's still going to be tortured. What are killing these demons going to get him, apart from some satisfaction or revenge, which will go immediately when the next brand signal flares up. It's kind of interesting to think about this early on, but I guess, I don't know if you felt that way or not, because this is coming from me who's read Berserk a billion times. Oh no, the silence.
Oh, my bad. I didn't really know how to respond, but yeah.
Please respond.
Is he dead? But no, I do feel that.
Yeah. And, you know, I like, you know, the visual. What do you think of the visual of Guts shooting the cannon up to the sky?
I do like that. It's showing that he's legit, like, going, not insane, but he's freaking out right now. He's doing anything to try and get rid of, like, the voices. And he's like, well, if I shoot this, maybe they'll go away. So, yeah.
I see it as two ways. I see it as Guts being scared.
Yeah.
But I also see it as, like, another declaration of war. If not, I mean, you know, shooting, I guess, like, you know, like, shooting flares up into the sky is usually, like, is a good signal of, like, starting war, of some shit's gonna go down. And, you know, you can kind of take it both ways. It kind of Guts, like, really declaring, yeah, I'm gonna kill all of you fuckers. But it's also kind of, like, a shock of anger, because if you see the panel afterwards, he's got a shocked look in his eyes. Like, that wasn't him doing that, it was kind of, like, a response of his emotions, rather than Guts doing that level-headed.
Yeah, it was the fear controlling him.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he was scared. He's kind of like a slave of his own fear. And that comes up again when Guts kind of like questions himself. And if you want to know more about that, watch my video on why Cracks and the Blade is the best chapter in Berserk Inspired. Thank you. Some shameless shilling for my own channel. But yeah, watch why Cracks and the Blade is the best chapter in Berserk, if you want to know my more thoughts on that.
Hell, watch it 3 times.
Yeah, watch it 3 times. Don't skip the ad. Skip the ad. Okay. And yeah, and then, you know, get this panel of, you know, how did you like how Miura kind of like reflects this in the environment as well? You see, like, the next panel, kind of like the leaves are blowing off the trees as he shoots the cannon into the sky. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, I do like that. The way I kind of got it, because when you said the him doing this like a declaration of war, it's like a new wind's coming through, I guess. Like the leaves are blowing in a new wind. I'm trying to be philosophical here, but that's the vibe I got.
Yeah, I guess so. It's kind of like, you know, how powerful this cannon is, I guess. It's a detail we didn't need to add in, but just kind of like fleshes out the world a bit more.
Adds to it,
in a way. And I kind of like these panels, you know, Puck just looking at, like, the death and destruction around him. And, you know, kind of like, monologuing that this is the world Guts lives in. So, to bring up 2016 again, I'm so sorry, this scene in 2016 is a really fucking shite, CGI Puck model. And you know that panel of, like, Puck looking sad at the bottom? That panel's completely 2D and drawn pretty well in Berserk 2016. But it's like the only instance, not the episode, apart from like Guts eating a fucking rabbit. And that's 2D as well for some reason. So like, it's a shitty CGI Puck model, and then it just cuts to like a pretty well drawn 2D Puck. Thanks, Berserk. How do you think? I like how, you know, Puck kind of ponders, you know, as I said, this is where Guts lives, and he kind of looks sad. But then he turns around and follows Guts anyway. What it has the chapter ends. What did you think of that?
I do like it. It shows that Puck is really loyal to Guts, like even though Guts is kind of an asshole towards
Yeah, you know,
him.
that elven pride he was on about. I think
Yeah.
it kind of shows he understands Guts a bit more as well.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice, for this last half of his chapter, he's not cracking jokes at all.
Yeah.
He's kind of like serious. And he kind of like understands Guts' plight a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we go back, you know, when Guts says, it wasn't your fault. He says to Guts, it wasn't your fault. And Puck was like, no, Guts was like, they're weak anyway, fuck 'em.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, previously Puck would be like, oh, you're so horrible, Guts, I hate you. And then he'd fly away. But here, he's, you know, he doesn't react. He knows at this point Guts he's putting on a farce.
Mm-hmm.
And he judged it from Guts' emotions and reactions, and so did the reader. You know, good visual storytelling by Miura. So, what did you think of the end, you know, the end panel of this chapter, you know, Guts marching on as Puck's elven light follows through?
I'm gonna be honest. I think the end panel is probably the weakest. If we're comparing it between like chapter 1 and 2, I think the last panel was better.
I think I get the kind of I get what it's going for, you know, despite, you know, he's marching onwards despite, you know, being hunted by the brand. Because like the big focus of this chapter was the brand of what it represents, Guts being a slave to the demons.
Yeah.
And being hunted. And the final panel is like, I'm moving forward from that. I'm gonna defy my fate. But yeah, I wish it was drawn a bit better, I guess.
Same. He's like, I ain't no weak bitch.
Yeah, it's not very detailed. And that's the end of chapter 2. I think we're gonna end this episode here because we've always got because these chapters are very long.
Yeah.
I know I said we cover a volume per episode, but the beginning chapters are very fucking long. And you know, we've recorded an hour and a half, and yeah, we'll be here all night otherwise. And I don't think like these podcasts should be like 3 hours long. I think an hour and a half is a good length for them.
I can't listen to a podcast if it's over 2 hours. Like, it's just a weird thing.
So what are your thoughts on the second chapter of the brand overall?
I'm gonna
Did you like it better than the first?
I did, and I don't know whether that's because I knew what happened in the first chapter when I read it, because it's in the anime for the most part. The main gist of it is, I thought the artwork was a lot more. It was better, and it was a lot more dynamic compared to the first chapter as well.
Yeah, definitely.
There's lots of really cool action in it, and like we brought up, I really like the priest and the girl. Like, while they don't, well, more the girl than the priest, but. Because while they're only in this chapter, you do legit feel bad for them when they do die.
I think they're quite memorable despite that, because I remembered her name being Colette, and I know I've read Berserk a lot of times, but even then, like, it's a testament that remembering a minor character's name from one chapter kind of, you know, it stands out of how much they stuck with you.
Yeah.
And although she didn't do much herself, events around her and how that affected Guts definitely did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's a good. I think this is where Berserk started really getting into its own.
Mm-hmm.
So the first chapter was like, here's what Guts. Sorry, my voice is going. This is what Guts' deal is. Watch him kill a big apostle monster. Also some signs of emotion and sadness. But this one definitely got a lot more into his psyche, his philosophy of being a mercenary. Doing, you know, living, doing what you love, even if the world objects to you. You see kind of like his philosophy of like, I hate weak people being crushed before him. Even Puck starts to realize that in chapter 2. You know, a lot of good visual elements in this chapter, which add a lot to Guts' character without necessarily giving lots of pointless exposition, which, you know, any good story should do.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to see in the next chapters?
Can I talk past 3? Because I do know what happens in 3.
Yeah, you know what happened in 3. So
okay.
Past 3.
I want to see this arc with Guts, like, learning more about, like, his... I don't want to say softer side, because it kind of is a softer side that we kind of do see in this chapter, in a way. I want to see more of that, because that's what I'm getting more invested in. 'Cause, like, I know about Guts and, like, the stuff he goes through, but it's even then, that's the interesting parts of Berserk. Like, the action's great and all, but the action doesn't mean as much as the character's boring and I know nothing about
the
him.
The best parts of Berserk are the quieter moments. I think that's why it resonates with a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's very good emotional storytelling, a very good character-driven storytelling, and you know the violence and the action is often a byproduct of the emotion. You know, it's not pointless.
Mm-hmm.
It's not happening for no reason, and that's what, you know, a lot of people's favorite Berserk scenes would be I don't know, Griffith and Guts having a conversation at the Hill of Swords, or the Bonfire of Dreams in the Golden Age, or Cracking the Blade, which is my favorite. It's just conversations, you know, and characters deeping dive within deeping dive, if that makes sense, within themselves to kind of, you know, it's good. Berserk is good, is what I want to say. So, I think we'll wrap that up there. Lance, thank you for coming on once again, and thank you for not posting cringe.
I try.
Yeah, so I won't lose subscribers. So just to repeat and wrap up, Berserk will be returning on August 23rd in Young Animal. Return to Guts' perspective, so that will be exciting. I will be covering that chapter on my own channel. I don't really usually do, you know, a new chapter reaction things, because I don't really like doing that. But I think this chapter will be a special exception because of the content which will be covered. I'm losing my voice again. And if you want to send an email, ask me and Lance a question about Berserk or anything, like what we had for dinner, or how much cringe.
I hope someone will ask that. I really do.
How much cringe we posted today. Send an email to Gettin, that's Gettin, Gutsy @gmail.com. So GETTINGUTSY @gmail.com. That is Gettin Gutsy, Gettin Gutsy @gmail.com. I'll put it in the description as well. But yeah, send us some questions and we'll read them next episode. And sorry about the delay in this one. We've both been busy with other stuff, but I'm hoping that these will be a bit more frequent than this big gap. So yeah, again, Lance, thank you again for coming on. We'll see you for the next episode of Chapter 3.